Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here in Motor City, of course, none other than Detroit, Michigan, for a special media drive event, which is all about this vehicle right here. What the heck is this? This is a totally redesigned from top to bottom 2024 Buick Encore GX. This is an all-new trim known as the top luxury Avenir trim. But before we get into this smaller size luxury SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Buick, they've been around since the early 1900s, if you could believe that. Founded in 1901, over the years they've had some pretty iconic nameplates. The Skylark, the Century, the Grand Nationals. Obviously, with the way the auto industry is going nowadays, it's all about crossovers, SUVs, and of course, electrification. Now, we brought to you just last year the Buick Wildcat concept. Really, really sexy shaped two-door car that brought a lot of excitement. Well, guess what? Buick is using that as their base to recreate their brand. Over the years, kind of got a little stagnant, especially here in the United States, but Buick, being that American car brand, wants to excite potential buyers and current owners. So what they did was they decided to take their top-selling Encore GX and really bring some of that style and technology. So what I want to find out is this the best new small luxury SUV to buy? And is it better than one of the top dogs? Which one is that? That would be the Lexus NX 350. So let's go ahead, let's dive into our Encore GX Avenir and find out. Right off the bat, the style. They moved away from that smaller round egg shape and gave it some more personality. Up front, we're gonna see the new direction with Buick, and it starts with this vehicle for 2024 model year. You have your wing LED daytime running lamps and turn signals. That's gonna be that unique design that you'll see flow through all of the different Buicks. And then what they did was they separated the headlight and have it in this lower headlight housing, full LED projector beam headlight, and we have a functional corner air curtain. Now, if you look at this shape right here, especially if I kind of cover this area, this is taken right from that Buick Wildcat concept, and it really does make the front of the Encore GX look a little bit more sporty and aggressive. Now, on the bottom portion, you're gonna notice, I hope you're wearing your Buick Oakley sunglasses, because you're gonna have some bling bling and chrome, because this is the top Avenir trim. And the Avenir we've brought to you on some of their other models, but this is the first time that it's on the Encore GX. On the lower portion, just a little bit of gloss black. And then what's nice is that they did some great carving to the front fascia to give it some nice depth of design. Now, as we come across the front grille, like I said, I hope you have those Buick Oakley sunglasses on, because you're gonna have this chrome throughout grille, fully functional with a forward-facing camera that they hid very cleanly. I like the way it's got a little bit of a kind of rise in the center, and then it drops down and goes all the way around the perimeter. We have some flat, sort of like a gunmetal gray finish, but fully functional on the bottom and on the top. And there's that gloss black, sort of like a lip. I'm not gonna call it a splitter, but this lower lip section adds a little extra something, I think, to the front of this vehicle to definitely make it look sportier. Now, if you're comparing this to the NX, obviously it doesn't have that ginormous grille that I know some of you are not a fan of on the Lexus products, but definitely clean, unique, and you can still tell it's a Buick. Now, as we rise up onto the nose, what you're gonna find is the updated, upgraded Buick badge. Finally, this is only the third time that they've changed the Buick badge, and it looks 21st century, nice and modern, no more fuddy-duddiness. You have a rise right from the middle, goes down the hood towards the windshield, and then evaporates. Everything else has a nice curve and that slight lift on both sides. Like I said, this part here, I'm seeing Buick Wildcat concept all day long, and I'm liking it. The way they took the front fascia, kind of wrapped it around nicely. It's looking pretty good, especially compared to the previous generation of the Encore GX. Now, as we come around the bend, you're gonna have 3 different trims. Preferred, Sport Touring, which is also known as ST, not to be confused with Ford ST products, Sport Touring, and then Avenir. What you're gonna get on the Avenir is your largest wheel option. Nice aluminum finish, multi-spoke design. It's clean and it looks great with our particular setup. It's a 19-inch wheel. Obviously, the different trims have smaller size wheels, 18 and 17-inch wheel. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of this tire? You're actually looking at 245 on the width, 45 series sidewall, and there's that new Buick badge. They went through the whole suspension to help improve the ride quality, the chassis, the whole 9 yards. Plus, what I like about the Avenir, fully painted fenders. This beautiful, it's almost like a radiant red metallic mist like you would find on a Cadillac or a Chevrolet product. Looking good in the Detroit sun. Let me know how you feel. Are you happy that they painted that fender treatment? And let me know how you feel about the wheel with the rest of the color. Now, as you go down the side, we do have color matched on the mirror caps. You do have your 360-degree cameras. A little bit of shiny, bright metal work only along the top. So smart that brands are doing this instead of having it covered. Down below, look at this. Starts on the driver's door. This nice body line flows down the side of the vehicle. There's our Avenir badge. Like I said, new trim for 2024. And if you're wondering what's that jet sound, those are actually Encore GXs being delivered to the Detroit airport. They're airdropping them as we speak. You do have some chrome finish on the door handles to match the chrome on the grille. And then you have these nice low roof rails, kind of like flat metallic silver. And you'll notice up top, we do have a panoramic sunroof, which is a nice touch on this Encore GX. The big zonk I have is this guy right here. Why do we have to have that kind of antenna? I wish it just had a regular shark fin antenna color match, especially on the top trim, the Avenir. Now, our particular one is all-wheel drive, and that's gonna include some special touches I'll talk about when we pop the hood. But as we come around the back, love what they've done with the LED lighting. So no Thomas Edison light bulbs, full LED lighting. You got your Encore GX all-wheel drive. Yes, we have our wiper here, but pretty much most of the competition has their wiper located here, so I'm not gonna zonk it, but you'll notice that we do have our digital rear view mirror with a washer, which is great. And then of course, the way that they blended in the third brake light, and then we have our Avenir badge with the Buick name spelled out. That's another new nice touch that I'm liking what they did on this 2024 Encore GX with our new Buick badge. And then going all the way down, what you're gonna find, they did do this fake kind of exhaust vent area. I am gonna zonk it, but it does help bring out the sportiness of the rear of the vehicle, especially with our simulated rear diffuser and just a little bit of gloss black. But definitely from front to back, top to bottom, you could see and feel the differences in this Encore GX. Let's go ahead and pop the hood and see what's powering it. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. It does have a prop rod, and for the top Avenir trim, I am gonna zonk that. Underneath the hood, you're actually gonna have 2 different engine options. Let me give you a little detail about it. So on ours, it's a 1.3 liter turbocharged inline 3 producing 155 horsepower, 174 pound-feet of torque. We have all-wheel drive, which means we have a 9-speed conventional torque converter automatic transmission. You can also get front-wheel drive. If you go front-wheel drive, that comes with a CVT. Now the other engine, the base engine, is gonna be a 1.2 liter turbocharged inline 3 producing 137 horsepower on 162 pound-feet of torque. So when you go for the bigger engine, especially all-wheel drive, you're gonna be getting basically an additional almost 20 horsepower and more than 10 pound-feet of torque and the 9-speed automatic if you go all-wheel drive. When it comes to MPGs, on our all-wheel drive example, 26 in the city, 28 on the highway. The vehicle weighs 3,273 pounds, and guess what? Can tow up to 1,000 pounds. But underneath the hood, obviously a lot of room because of the smaller displacement engine. But 3 cylinders really shouldn't be a surprise, because if you look over in Europe, a lot of manufacturers are using those newer 3-cylinder engines. as a shipment just comes from Europe. Just something to point out, but why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see this thing go in motion. All right, guys, we're inside this all-new 2024 Buick Avenir, that Encore GX Avenir. Now, remember, you got your 3 trims: Preferred, Sport Touring, and the Avenir trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been looking for a smaller crossover luxury SUV. I kind of forgot about Buick, but I'm digging the exterior. I can't wait to see the interior. How much is this? So MSRP starting for an Encore GX is right around $26,800. This one, with its options, has an MSRP of right around $33,900. But let's see what you get for the money and what the changes are to the door panels. I like the two-tone style. So you have soft touch material up top. That's obviously black soft touch material. And then you have that cream two-tone. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the tan cream style, but it does make the door panel pop. No gloss black. You do have a very deep door pocket, which is good news. So you could get a couple slices of Detroit-style pizza in the door pocket and a bottle of IBC root beer to wash it down. We also have the Bose sound system down below in the door panels and all the way around. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, love the way they did the material on the dash. Soft touch, the two-tone. Look at the way they texturize underneath the AC vents. A little bit of chrome to match the chrome on the outside. And I'm also liking this gray trim that extends all the way from one side to the other. And then, of course, what do we have? An all-new virtual cockpit setup. That's what Buick is calling it. 19 inches of screen. So you have an 11-inch infotainment system screen. My zonk is I wish that the screen either took up more room or this was a little bit lower. But the great news is full touchscreen capability. You have more cameras on this Buick than what Armstrong had when he landed on the moon. And no, I'm not talking about Lance Armstrong. I'm talking about Neil Armstrong. Study your history, kids. And then, like I said, every which way you have all of that set up. You do have a Wi-Fi hotspot. You can get into your climate controls. But the good news is if you have a phobia about touching screens, you don't have to touch the screens to adjust your AC. And then you even have all your gauges and information when it comes to not only maintenance, but also when it comes to the actual accessory gauges, your coolant temp, your battery voltage. And then you could display it any which way you want, plus show it in the cluster, which is kind of cool. And I'll show you more of that when you come to the business end. Now, as you work your way down, same texturized on the bottom of the AC vents. This is what I was telling you about, real actual buttons and switches. So you have your dual climate control, heated seats, 3 stages, but no ventilated seats. And at this price point, I would have liked to have seen ventilated seats. You do have a 12 volt, a USB-C, a USB-A, and wireless charging. Let me close that. This is going to control your 9-speed automatic. I like the way they got the stitching on the shift boot. Shut off your traction control. You could turn on and off your all-wheel drive, which is great. You got your 2 cup holders. Here is your key fob, 2024 new Buick badge with remote start. Good size. It's not going to poke you in the groin. And then you have another area where easily you could put one of those Dunkin' Donut blueberry muffins in here. Nice big, you know, it's got the, it almost feels like it's exploding out of the muffin holder. That would fit perfect there. Nice high armrest, soft material. Open this up, what do we got? We got some cords for our charging. Or what you could do is you could actually put, I would say, 7 Sega Master System games. Drop that in there. You know what my favorite is, right? What's my favorite? Yes, Lori, you're correct. Outrun. Boy, did I spend some time playing Outrun. And if you don't know what that is, use the Google and definitely get yourself a copy to play. Seats. This is where Buick shows their full game. Avenir embroidery, the stitching, nice soft leather, the piping. Now, what's interesting is you have an 8-way power adjustable seat for the passenger, but the zonk is, it's a manual back. I wish they would have just taken away the lumbar, power lumbar, and gave me a power back. But it's nice that you do have power adjustments for the passenger. I have a 10-way adjustable seat because I'm the driver. Damn it. And then, of course, we have that nice size panoramic roof, sunroof, and the fixed portion for the rear seat passengers. And, of course, we have, and I'm going to close this all the way or Lori's going to kill me, we do have our digital rear view mirror. This is technology that GM came up with that now you see on the Lexus products. And I could actually see how old that person is. They're right about, I would say, 19 years old, going to the park. What a nice way to spend the day. Why don't you come over here? I want to show you a nice way to spend your driving in this 2024 Encore GX. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Down below, you have a nice Avenir aluminum sill plate to welcome you so you can remember what trim you bought. You do have 2 memory seat settings and those power seat controls, 10-way adjustable, unlike the passenger. It would have been nice to give the same seat controls to the passenger. I mean, they're a valued person as well. It's not just about you, or is it? These are questions you need to ask yourself the next time you look at yourself in the mirror. But overall, the room in here, it definitely is more spacious than the previous generation of the Encore GX, and definitely the seats are comfy. Steering wheel, leather all the way around. I like the way they did the stitch work. There's the new Buick badge, looking cool. My one thing I would like to see added is some stitching on the horn button. It would just elevate the whole steering wheel, but you do have flat black on all the switch gear. It is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then the dash, like I said, it's a 19-inch. They're calling it a 19-inch virtual cockpit, but you have an 8-inch digital gauge cluster. There's that coolant temp that I brought over. What I'm able to do is I could then, abracadabra, now I'm showing battery voltage. So you got your speedometer, your coolant, you can show battery voltage, whatever you want to show in that center display, which makes it really nice. The only thing I'm just bothered by is how much extra space there is. It's like a holder for the instrumentation, but they do give you a real volume knob, which is nice. So that is a big plus. But why don't we go ahead, since we're talking about pluses and things that are large, let's see if the back seat is big and if it's a plus in this Encore GX. All right, guys, back seat time, and very surprising. I'm being 6 feet tall, sitting back here. I got plenty of room. I had plenty of room up front, which is great. And it's actually quite comfy back here. Now, the backs of the seats, you have the leather all the way around, and you can get darker leather options. Don't think that this is the only color it comes in. But we have these nice large pockets, easily put, I would say, 4 moon pies back there. And then you'll notice no AC, which is a zonk. I would like to have AC for the rear seat passengers, but they did take care of you connectivity-wise. Home power source, USB-C, USB-A, and a place for a Twinkie down there, which is a big plus. Now, one thing I want to show you that's kind of interesting is because the seat does not have a power back, watch what it could do. Let's say you're being chauffeured around and you want to have that full chauffeur experience. Watch this. Kind of cool. You literally could take the seat, fold it down forward flat, and they have plastic on the back of the seat so your shoes don't scuff the leather. And now you could just really have that chauffeured experience. You could have your pink lemonade, maybe iced tea back here, and just tell your driver where you want to go. And on top of that, ooh, oh my God, I feel like this is made of the same stuff that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is made out of. Look at how soft that is. Wow. 2 cup holders. And then I like the way they did the seat patterns, just like up front. That shows attention to detail. But you know what? We got one more place to focus our attention on before we hit the road and go on throttle. Let's check out the cargo area in this Encore GX. All right, guys, time to get in the cargo area. Real simple. You hit the button, rises up, nice electric assist. Now, one thing to just point out is how high that loading entryway is into the back of the Encore GX. But the great news is, once you get it up and get in, that's where you're gonna find the space. 23.5 cubic feet of space. I like the way they have a nook over there for a nice large bottle of Yoo-Hoo. And on this side, of course, you could put half a box of Twinkies. If you do the math, that's 7.5. Lift this up, we do have a spare and some extra space for some ho-hos, ding-dongs, and everything else yummy that you need on your family trip. Plus, on top of that, watch this, you ready? I just added more cargo room. So you could actually lower the cargo floor, 1, 2, 3, buckle your shoe, 3, 4, close the door and everything else, gives you that extra room. And then if you need more, like say you're doing that Costco run, all you gotta do, it's kind of a little cumbersome, but if you reach up top, you can get it just enough to where you can push it down, 60-40 split. So I'm actually doing a 60-40 split on the rear seats. That's gonna give us a little over 50 cubic feet of space. And I know you're saying, well, Joe, that's not like totally flat. There's a big bottom portion of the seat. Well, duh, all we gotta do is just take this out and then we're gonna wrap it right back in, just like so. There's your flat loading area all the way through, but definitely maximize. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, I got some long things that I need to slide into the back of this Encore GX, 7.5 feet from basically the armrest to the back of this area here. That's a pretty good amount of room for a smaller crossover, but you know what? If you're ready, I'm ready. We got all-wheel drive, we got a 9-speed automatic. Let's go ahead, let's go on throttle in the Encore GX Avenir. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Buick Encore GX Avenir trim, and right away, it feels like a totally different experience in here. The way that virtual, what Buick is calling the virtual cockpit, having this seamless design from one side of the dash to almost the other side, easy to get to, and very, very simplistic. I mean, if you're looking for the type of vehicle where it doesn't have, 74 different apps and all that other kind of stuff, this really will be up your alley. Of course, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It's easy to pull up those super clear cameras. And then having the all-wheel drive gives you that sure-footedness, especially when you go on throttle, so, which I'm about to do. On throttle, 9-speed drops down. Shifts are actually fairly smooth, and what's nice about this stretch of Detroit road, it's very chewed up, and I'm happy to report that it does a really good job isolating all of these bumps and chewed up pieces of asphalt. That's always one of those things that, depending on where you go in the country, and I know Michigan is one of those areas where roads are really ripped up, this is actually doing a pretty good job of absorbing all of that impact and not having it come into the cabin. When it comes to materials, you're feeling the differences that they're bringing with this new generation. Is it perfect? Of course not. But the thing is that it's definitely a step above, a couple steps above where we were at with the previous generation. Visibility is great. Of course, you're gonna have those important safety features like blind spot monitoring and emergency brake assist. But really did a fantastic job with the sound deadening material, the new adhesives that they're using on the chassis, and of course the acoustic windshield helps kind of give us a nice driving experience. Having the digital rear view mirror is a welcome addition, especially when it comes to getting that easy bird's eye view. And you are definitely feeling the larger amount of room in here. It just feels like there's more room to breathe, which is really nice, especially when you're comparing this to the slightly larger Lexus NX. This kind of falls into that gray area of not a subcompact, not a compact. It's like in this weird area, but definitely more on the compact side because of its increased width and length. But seats are supportive and very comfortable without feeling like some lazy boy, old lazy boy chair that your grandpa's been using since 1982. And the 3-cylinder engine, I know obviously there's a lot of negative talk and comments that comes from the smaller displacement and 3-cylinder engines, but like I said, in Europe, they've been using them for quite some time. All right, so what I did was I brought Apple CarPlay up just to give you an idea of what that is gonna look like if you have an Apple phone. Obviously, Android has its own unique touches to it, but definitely at a good level to where you have good visibility, and it's well within reach, which is awesome as well. But like I said, I think driving this new Encore GX, it's just a very manageable size, and I think that that's going to help you enjoy driving it more, especially when you're driving in the city trying to find that tight parking spot, or if you have to parallel park. Well, we're going to go on throttle and kind of curve to the left here. Before the light turns green, one thing that I do think is a nice touch is that you could shut the all-wheel drive system off 1, 2, 3. So if you're trying to maximize fuel economy on the highway or around town, you could just do front-wheel drive. But I'm going to keep it in all-wheel drive, and once this light turns green, we're going to go on throttle. Here we go, on throttle. Now, obviously, it's not a Corvette Z06, but for a 3-cylinder turbo, it is quite peppy. And if you notice, you're not getting a ton of noise and vibration, which is great. Going down this kind of twisty little road here, the way that they have the chassis set up, the driving dynamics, it feels good. You don't have to worry about driving modes. There's not 15 different modes with this car or anything like that. Basically, you get in, you fire it up, and you drive. And what I like about that is that they found sort of like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears sweet spot in the driving dynamics. Steering feel is nice without being too heavy. Throttle sensitivity is just snappy enough, but it's not going to break your neck or make you feel like you're turning on and off a light switch. Those are things that are going to help you to enjoy the overall driving experience in this Encore GX. All right, guys, we're going to go on throttle again. Around this turn. On throttle, here we go. Smooth shifts from the 9-speed. And remember, if you don't go all-wheel drive, you are going to have a CVT. So something to think about. So it's nice that they give you that ability of getting a traditional torque converter automatic transmission. And one thing that I forgot to mention earlier is you do have a heated steering wheel as well. And I like the way the button is accessible with your left-hand thumb. The thumb from your left hand, easy to just take care of that and make that happen. There's that touchscreen capability, like I said, easy to modulate and work, just like driving this vehicle. It's a very easy crossover SUV to drive and to live with. But we're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been a fun, interesting kind of day here in Detroit, Michigan with this 2024 Buick Encore GX, the Avenir trim. We definitely got to thank Stefan, Michael, and the rest of the whole Buick team for getting us access to this all-new toll redesign. But let me know what you think. Is this enough? Has Buick done enough to really get you kind of interested and curious about what they're bringing to the table when it comes to crossover luxury SUVs, especially when comparing it to the Lexus NX? Let me know which way you would go down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. Of course, we need to give it up to the strongest person working a camera, Lori, working it like a champ. Show her some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.